I just drove 5 hours from Kentucky to Chicago for arguably one of the best improv schools in the country, the Second City in Chicago. Now, I was born and raised here in Kentucky, and I'm actually an actor and model. I've been with my agency for 3 years and 11 months. Here come December, it'll be 4, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunities I've had here in Kentucky and the amount of training that I've been able to practice in. But I knew I wanted to increase my repertoire as an actor, so I was always curious about improv, and there was no other better way than the Second City. And it was such a journey getting there and experiencing it for the first time. And this is a new series of YouTube videos that I'm making of my acting journey, especially my improv journey here in the Second City. And I want to share with you guys just what I've learned, things to know about the Second City that you may not have known about. And just, yeah, 3 hours of improv within however long this video ends up being, however long I can rant. I did bring my notebook, so in class I try to write down to the best of my ability what we learned, and they do have a rule of no recording and no filming, so I tried to do that very discreetly, but in a secluded area, not really showcasing anyone who doesn't want to be recorded. So, you know, I only been there one time, so I'm still trying to figure out the groove of things. There's many places I haven't even seen. The Second City in Chicago is a public place, so literally anyone can show up. So be very careful leaving anything and making sure, you know, you don't have any items left out, because there are actual improv shows that you can take, and there are training centers and people in class. So, you know, it's very interesting how the Second City structure works, and they've been doing this for 65 years. That's uploaded. It's showcased on their billboard when you walk in those revolving doors, and just seeing everything is absolutely amazing. Seeing Steve Carell and Chris Farley, and just amazing Tina Fey, and just amazing actors and actresses, and Stephen Colbert, and you know, not Saturday Night Live, like late night talk show hosts or talk show hosts, Michael Keegan. There's so many amazing figures that came out of the Second City. And they do have different locations in New York and in Toronto, I believe. But Chicago is just an amazing spot. Plus the food, oh my gosh, the food. We're not going to get into that. I wanted to talk to you guys about everything I learned within the 3 hours of improv in the Second City. Now, the way that the Second City's classes are structured, they have so many different variety of classes. They have improv classes. They have improv for actors. You know, there's a specific dedicated class for that. There's improv for people with anxiety and people who are wanting to learn how to be better public speakers. There's public speaking classes. There's stand-up classes. There's writing classes. There's just a plethora of other different classes, but I wanted to learn improv. So the way that improv is structured is that you have improv 1 through 5, and there's different types of improv classes, like I said, with stand-up, with improv for actors, improv for people with anxiety, public speaking. But if you want to take like the core, the foundation, there's improv 1 through 5, and it teaches you everything from the foundation to scene work to who knows? I don't know. I'm on improv 1, and each class is 7 weeks. That's how it's structured. You can do it once a week. They do have it all throughout the week from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've been taking Sunday classes. That's just best fits my schedule. And so they have it for 7 weeks, once a week. And then after that, I guess you graduate. I'm not sure how it works. I still have to figure this out. But then you go to improv 2. You just have the experience, the knowledge to upgrade to the next class. And then that improv 2 is 7 weeks. and then improv 3 is 7 weeks, and it just goes on and so forth. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, after improv 5, you can graduate towards something called conservatory, something like that. Starts with a C. It's on improv. Or Second City's website, and I believe you have to audition for this. I'm not sure if this means you can start doing shows or what exactly this means, but there's like another level after that. But maybe we're on level 1. It's actually unique how the first improv class is structured, because 2, 3, 4, and 5 aren't structured the same way. Improv 1, you can take it in 2 ways. Improv 1, you can take it within 7 weeks, that's one term, or they have it broken in right in half for people who need a better flexible schedule. So you can take improv 1A, which is 4 weeks, and then after that you can take improv 1B, which is another 4 weeks. So 8 weeks in total. You're just missing a week if you just were to take it for the full term of 7 weeks. So I'm doing the improv 1A. So I'm at 4 weeks right now. After I'm done with that, I'll do improv 1B. Just for scheduling reasons, this might best fit you, or if you want to commit to 7 weeks right off the bat and pay for that, that's totally fine. Just knowing that I have to drive 5 hours from Kentucky to Chicago and round trips, and I'm spending the night, and I'm doing like food reviews for other social media content, and just I'm making a trip out of it. I don't know how physically taxing that might be if I just go 7 weeks ham. So it's going to be a unique experience, and I'm happy to take you guys along with me. But without further ado, let me tell you about what I learned and how class went. I remember showing up to class, and I'm not going to say names because I'm going to keep everything professional. Make sure if nobody wants to be talked about, then I won't say any names, but I will talk about what we did, some things that I learned about the people there, and just the connections and networking that I made, because it was very, very inspiring. One of the guys that I met, he was actually in a wheelchair, and it was just, he was in, I think, maybe he was in 45s to 55s, and he said that his fiance was the reason why he got back into improv. He's a voice actor, and improv classes was one of those things that he was always interested in but never kept pursuing just because of his condition. But his fiance helped push him to do that. And I remember meeting him after class. I was like, dude, if you don't mind, I hope it's not like, I gave him my whole backstory of how I'm a content creator, I'm documenting my journey as an actor, and I told him how I was very inspired as soon as I saw him and heard his story. I was just like, if you don't mind me asking, I hope it's not insensitive. I was just curious about your condition, and a little bit more in depth about what pushed you to come to improv classes. Because let me tell you this, people, no matter who they are, where they come from, whatever walks of life, taking an improv class is scary. It is nerve-wracking. Stepping out of your comfort zone and putting yourself out there and doing these weird exercises and these warm-up games that we're about to get into is just so out of the norm. And it definitely is scary to be in that setting. And the fear of judgment and the fear of failure, of feeling like you can't do it, really sets in. So for him to do that in his condition, and everything about his story that I learned about was just so inspiring to hear. So maybe one of these days I might actually get him, because I am just documenting this journey, and he might be open to it. But like I said, I can't name names, but I can just tell you what I've learned, and just the lessons I'm taking in, not just from improv, but from the people, because that's what really this is about. It's just the people, the interactions, how you react and interact with one another. I remember getting to class, and the instructor walked in, and he wrote down, 6 things on the board. Obviously, he wrote down his name. That's not one of them. But he wrote down the intro and the check-in, just making sure everyone is here, what we're going to be talking about, and the guidelines, don't record and take pictures. And I'm with my phone, just like, oh, sorry. He told us about, the Second City, the history of it, making sure, did everyone find parking right? Because, gosh, Chicago City's parking is, it's all right. Sundays is free. That's another plus for me. Sundays is free. That's why I also go on Sundays. But there is a parking garage right next door. So it's very convenient. So we really just got a lot of the intro out of the way, and then we did something called Common Ground. The class maxim is about 16 people. That's how many people you can have in one class. And this, I believe this goes for all improv, maybe even all classes that Second City has to offer, whether it's for public speaking or writing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the 3-day intensives. There's so many different amazing things that Second City has to offer. And I do plan to take improv 1 through 5 and maybe conservatory. I just have to figure out what that means and what that is. But I just know there's a next step after improv 5. But like I said, baby steps. We're at improv 1A. We did something called Common Ground. Like I said, there's 16 students at the maximum. There was only 10 students when I showed up. There could be more trickling in as we go. However, he did say, since this is a 4-week structure, if you do miss more than 2 weeks, then we can't really allow you to take improv 1B because, you know, you just missed more than half of what we learned, so we don't feel like you're fit enough. Or they said it was, you know, this is the prerequisite to taking improv 1B, so if you don't have this, then we can't really push you forward. You're just not going to know what's going on. And so I think we may have 2 more students trickling into the third or the second week because we only finished week 1. And I don't know how the structure for the 7 weeks is if you miss more than 3 weeks or 2 weeks or maybe 1. Who knows how that structure will go. I'll have to figure out as we go. And next time I record, maybe it might be in the Second City. We just got back and I'm at my home office recording this for you guys just to show you what I learned. Common Ground was with the 10 people that we had in class, and I remember it being about 10, there were 8 guys and 2 girls, and so obviously the girls were paired to be with each other and like 3 other guys, and we basically split it in half. We had 5 there and 5 here across the classroom, and Common Ground was basically just to it was like icebreakers. It was figuring out everyone's similarities and differences and just getting to know one another. But what the instructor did was do a fun little activity. And I like how he put it because he said that what you're going to do is, instead of an icebreaker, or it's a type of icebreaker, but instead of asking, what's your favorite color? What do you do for a living? Oh, why are you interested in improv? They're all great, reasonable questions. But the way he structured it was this. I want you guys to find one similarity between all 5 of you and keep going in depth with it. Be like, okay, do all of us live in Chicago? No. Okay, do all of us have acting backgrounds? Maybe yes. Oh, that's great. You know, if that's true, what else is? Then we just keep going. And at the end of it, he's gonna ask us, okay, what do you guys have in common? What did you learn about one another? And basically, we summarized our entire group within a sentence about our similarities. And what I just said before was something that he pictured out before we started the game. He said, if this is true, then what else? As in, if this is similar, as in we have acting background, if that's true about all 5 of us, then what else? And it's really just about digging deeper into the person next to you in your group and figuring out what you guys have in common. What we had in common, we were all 5 guys. We all had great hair. We weren't balding. We were we didn't like this local Chicago drink. I don't drink alcohol, and neither did one of the guys, but we all could agree that there was an alcohol that tasted bad, and it was some concoction that it was Chicago local. I forgot the name of it, but it was absolutely hilarious. We all were ethnically ambiguous. I'm half Filipino, half Russian. We had someone who was Polish, someone who was Greek, someone who was from France, another was from Lebanon. So we were very ethnically diverse. The other group, I think they were just Americans. They were just Americans. But we really tried to figure out, you know, if this is true about us, then what else? And we just got to know one another. It was a nice, unique way to do an icebreaker. So after that, we talked about, all right, what's your group have in common? If you can make it in one sentence. And that's exactly what we said. We are a group of non-balding, great sculpted hair, ethnically ambiguous men who don't like this type of alcohol. And I don't know what we said. Someone else spoke for us, and the other group shared their 2 cents about what they had in common. And we got into playing games. Now, this was interesting because we played 3 games, and the instructor had us stand up, and it was called Zip, Zap, Zop. And if you're familiar with the improv world, you know this game. Maybe not even the improv world, maybe just the acting world. If you know Zip, Zap, Zop, it goes like this. He made us stand up, and you can play this in a variety of different ways, but this Zip, Zap, Zop is essentially played the same way. What the instructor had us did was we stood up in a circle, and he said, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go clockwise, and I'm going to say zip, and then the next person says zap, and the next person after that says zop. So we just went around in a circle. He said zip, I said zap. The next person said zop. Then we restarted zip, zap, zop, zip, zap, zop. And we just went around in a circle. And it kind of got faster. Some people messed up. Some people said zip, zip, zop, zip, zap. And it was really funny. But this was just another way to loosen us up and get familiar, just working together as a team. Another variation that he did after we got familiar with the Zip Zap Zop game was we pointed. Instead of a circle, he said, all right, besides the people right next to you, you're going to point to somebody in the group and you're going to say zip, and you could do some kind of motion. You can do a clap just like this and say zip, like that. And the next person that they pointed to says zap, and they point to someone else, and the next person says zop, whoever they pointed to. It just couldn't be the person next to you. And the funny thing is, we still messed up. We went fast. Some people say zip. Some people thought they were pointing to one person. They were pointing to another. Some people said zip and zap and zip and zap, and then some people pointed next to them. We messed up. That's completely okay. Because another thing that the instructor said was, it's all right to make mistakes. Nothing here is supposed to be perfect. There's not a way to do this. We're just getting loose, getting out of our shell, and getting comfortable with the game. So we played that. We did another game called the Energy Pass, and it was whoosh. It was called whoosh. So this was so unique. I'm still trying to figure out why we did this, apart from just like ice breaking and getting out of our comfort zone, which you always need this. I think it was such a fun time to do. So basically he said, all right, I have this ball of energy right here, okay? So what we're going to do, like zip, zap, zop, I'm going to say whoosh, and then I'm going to pass it to you. So you see this energy ball. He says, everyone see it? I'm going to say whoosh and pass it to the next person, which is me. I'm going to take it in, I'm going to grab it, and then say whoosh, and we just passed it around. So he said whoosh, and he said this motion. I mean, it could have just been a toss, but he said whoosh. You see that? You see that energy ball? You grab it and you say whoosh, and we just whoosh, 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 whooshed around. That was the second game we played. And then we started playing different varieties of that game. He said instead of saying whoosh and keep passing the ball around, someone could say and basically meant no. And then instead of whooshing the ball around, you would just go counterclockwise. You would just go the opposite way. So you say whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Someone would say and then you would just go the opposite way. There was a moment where somebody just got stuck in between one person and they sang and someone was whooshing back and forth. And then the instructor said, okay, this game is to figure out who the bullies are in the group. And that was just a funny little moment. And everyone started getting out of their shell. We started talking a little bit more, and he said, yes, this is exactly what I wanted. Because I remember coming into class, just like any type of class, you're nervous. You don't know these people, so you just sit in silence. I remember I was one of the first people to get there, and I just sat there. And people trickled in, and I just sat there. And they sat down, and they sat there. And no one talked to anyone. The instructor came in, and he looked around. He was like, Jesus, someone died in here. I don't know. And after we played these whoosh games and the zip, zap, zop, he was like, this is what I want. Because at the end of the 4 weeks, or at the end of Improv 1 to 1B, you guys should be talking just like this, loud enough to where I have to bring you guys down. Just like any other class, any other time when you're having fun. You know, that's the point of improv. That's the point of these warm up and these icebreaker exercises just to get comfortable with one another. So you're able to actually do the yes and games and the actual improv games that we played right afterwards, because it's good to just get comfortable with someone. That creates more creativity, and that allows you to be a little bit more free with your partner when you're comfortable with them. Hold on a second. This is going to be like a Chris Williamson or a Diary of CEO break where I talk about Element, or you should drink AG1 if I'm Andrew Huberman. This is just water, baby. Sponsored by water. So, where was I? That was actually an hour and a half. And I don't know about anyone who, or I don't know about you guys, but if I'm into something, if you're just in the flow state, I guess you could say, and you're really just invested in something, time flies. The old adage, time flies when you're having fun. We had fun in an hour and a half. The duration was 3 hours, and we were at the halfway point, and we only did the intro, some warm-up exercises, or icebreaker exercises, and some more warm-up exercises. We didn't even get down to the nitty-gritty of the yes and exercises and understanding teamwork and understanding the focus of why what we did. And the instructor was really good. He explained so much about the games and why they correlated to improv in real time. But later in the second half of the class, he really dived deeper into what it meant to be an improviser, how to work with another person, and how to deal with people who reject you, either in a scene or in real life, and how you can implement real life improv exercises and practices to have a better worldview and how to better handle that scene, how to better handle that situation. So that was the halfway point. After that, we took about 10 to 15 minutes break. I'm not sure how that goes for the 7-week course. Like I said, I'm just doing improv 1A to 1B. I'm just letting you know my journey and my experience with this. So after that, we got back and yeah, we started playing. Oh wait, I think. What did we start doing? I think we did start playing yes. Oh no! Right before. Okay, I apologize. Right before the break, we did start playing the yes and games. That was the last. We did start playing improv games. My mistake. So for the improv game, everyone knows this game. Everyone knows this phrase. Yes and. It's the golden rule, the golden principle. If there's one, how do you call it? Yeah, if there's one rule in improv, everyone could agree. If it's not the first, it's probably the top three. It's all about yes and. And anyone who's an improviser or an actor can probably talk to you about what yes and is. And essentially, what I learned from what yes and was, not just from my experience 4 years acting in Kentucky solely, or just in the West, um, what I learned from the instructor in improv class was yes and is simply accepting the gift, accepting what your scene partner or whoever you're with is doing or saying or whatever their reality is. You accept them, and then you say and then you add on top of that. So whatever they give you, you will wholeheartedly accept it. You will say yes and add whatever you want to it. And guess what? They follow the same principle. They have to accept, or they don't have to. There's another interesting part when you can actually say no and when to say no, but when it's not acceptable to say no. I'll get into that here in a second. But when you say something, you can trust that they'll say yes to whatever you offer them, the gift, and then they'll add on top of that, and you go back and forth, and now you're improvising. It's all about spontaneity. It's all about reacting to your partner and just living in real time. And I think another thing a lot of people think about that scares them when it comes to improv and why they don't take improv classes is because they think, oh, dude, I don't know how you think about all those things on the top of your head, or how, I can't think that quick, or I don't know how you just make up stuff. I'm just not that creative. It's not about that. It's just about not letting the fear of whatever you do have in your mind stop you from saying what you want to say, because I guarantee you, you have a plethora of ideas flowing in your minds, and you have thoughts, millions of thoughts going into your mind. We just filter it out so much, and we refuse. We say no to ourselves when it comes to certain ideas or thoughts or goals, whatever it is. Because if I ask you, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you think of elephant? Boom. I bet you had a thought. And if we were in a, say, uh, we were on stage and I would ask you the same thing. But say you're, if I said elephant and your first thought was, maybe it was something sexual, or maybe it was something that didn't make any sense, you would be afraid to say that. And you would be afraid because you feel like it's wrong, or you feel like it doesn't make any sense, so people may not get it. That's not the point of this. Everyone has an idea, everyone has thoughts, everyone has this creativity inside of them. It's just that fear of judgment that's not letting it flow through. So this whole yes and theory, this whole yes and principle is saying, whatever you give me, I'm going to take, and I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to add on top of that, no matter how ridiculous, and I'm going to trust you as my partner or as a group, that you're going to accept that as well and say yes to that, and I add on top of that. And that really helps get rid of that fear of judgment. Like if you ask me what I think about elephants, I think of the color pink. I don't know why, but you're gonna say yes. I love pink elephants. I had a fluffy, squishmallow pink elephant once when I was a kid, and I was like, yeah. I had a frog that was not pink nor an elephant, but it was also a squishmallow. So we keep adding on, and we just say yes and accept our partner. That's the whole point of the yes and. And we actually played this game in a unique way. It was the no but. It was yes but, then it was yes and. So no but was one version where you would have a partner. We were paired up, and we would go to lunch. He gave us this outline. He said, you and your partner are going to lunch. One partner says, okay, let's go to McDonald's. The next person always starts off with no but. And then you would say whatever you want to have lunch. So one person would say, let's go to the McDonald's. The next person would say, no, but I want IHOP instead. Then the next person would go, no, but I want Waffle House instead. No, but I think we should stay in for tonight. No, but I really want to go out. No, but I think we should save some money. No, but I think we should treat ourselves. No, but what if we cook instead? No, but so we would go. You get the point. You get the point. I'm really getting into this game because it was fun. You could see how no but and yes and really differentiate. But there was a second step, which was yes but. So we would play the same game, and we had the outline of going to a party. So you and your partner are planning a party, going to a party, whatever it is that you guys start improvising. But the words that you say always is yes but. So the partner would say, we should get some snacks for this party. Next person would say, yes, but we should also get probably entrees and real meals too. Yes, but what about the kids? They don't really eat much. Yes, but I mean, that's what the purpose of the snacks are for. Yes, but the kids who are coming are probably, or the kids that are coming are allergic to nuts, and one is gluten free. Yes, but we probably shouldn't invite them. You get the point. You get the point. So you can see how yes but differentiates from no but. You really accept them, but you're not fully invested in what they're saying, and you're still invested more into yourself and your reality and what you want instead of what brings value to the scene. The last version of yes and is yes and, if you were following through. So we did the same thing, but we were planning a vacation. And these outlines of lunch, going to a party, planning a party, and going on vacation, they're all just outlines. They can be anything. It's just that principle of no but, yes but, and yes and that you're really just understanding in real time. So the yes and, we're going on vacation. So it flowed so easily. One person would say, yo, we should go to Cancun. Yes, and we should book some awesome snorkeling excursions. Yes. And then after we can go surfing. Yes. And then after, oh, dude, there's some food I want. I'm really craving some, I don't even know what a Cancun, the Thai noodles. Yes. And I love Thai noodles. We should also get some mochi. Yes. And I know a good spot. I don't know where mochi or Thai noodles came from, but the fact that they would always say yes and made me feel relieved because I know they would accept what I had and add on top of that. Then it was halftime. Dun dun. I think this is a good stopping point. This is going to be part one of my time in the second city in improv. Just because this video is about 30 minutes so far, I don't want to go too long with this, but if you guys want me to go in depth, I totally can. That was only halftime. We learned more. We played different games. We played I'm a Tree game, and we learned how to be better teammates and work together. We understood the principle, which I'll get into next video, of we lead the leader and follow the follower. We lead the leader and follow the follower, and understanding why that makes sense. And we understood point of view, and we understood how being more specific in your scenes makes it more interesting. And I'll get all into that into the next video. I just want to make sure these videos are short enough and long enough for you guys to enjoy, and making sure I'm staying on topic. But that was halftime. So in case you guys want me to make longer videos or actually record in the second city and take you guys with me in real time, because I did record on Snapchat, and it means a lot to me if you guys could follow me on Snapchat. That's where I do a lot of the behind the scenes footage. That's where a lot of my time and attention is on. I do post on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of the other social media platforms, but Snapchat is a really important platform that I put my attention to. So I'll probably link my Snapchat username here if you want to know more behind the scenes footage of there, and I'll showcase more footage here on this video. But if you want a part two, just let me know. I'm gonna post it anyway. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you could like, subscribe, and follow for more acting documenting journey, that would mean a lot to me. It helps the channel out, and it lets me know that you guys like these videos. This is definitely something that I'm starting, this acting documenting journey, apart from what I have posted, you know, the 70 videos I've posted in the past of my MMA journey, and then lifting, my gym stuff. This is totally left field, so it really would mean a lot for you guys to leave some feedback on what you guys learned or what you guys want to see more of. But without further ado, in case no one has told you yet today, I love you, you matter, you have value, and let me say something I haven't said before. I want you to be a yes and person. You don't have to be an improviser or an actor or anything in the industry. But when you say yes and, it really opens up your life in so many possibilities. Just saying yes and adding on top of that. It really will make a difference. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.